What up? Slightly different video from me today. It's going to be completely unfiltered as per the channel. And I am going to talk about different things. So we're just going to have a coffee. Just me and you having a coffee. I went out for dinner last night with a guy called Brett, who's my boat mechanic, but he's also a really fucking interesting guy who is, you know, everyone defines wealth differently. I think my definition of wealth is someone who is in control of their life, their finances, and they are not tied down to either their business or their work or their mortgage or, you know, the system. Most people probably call that freedom. Okay, freedom of time, money, and space. That for me is one of the things that I'm really passionate about in life, and this is why we build businesses that are systemized and can operate without you. Because I know you're on this channel and you're probably seeing all the, you know, $1 million studios, $1 million businesses, and how we can do more. The point is, it's like so that you can actually live your fucking life. Like, take it from a guy who had a fucking heart attack. We're not here forever, and there is no way out. At some point, we will have a, you know, moment where we leave the world. And I want to make sure that you guys do that in a way that you've lived your life. When you're at the doorstep like I was, like knocking on heaven's door or whatever, I want you guys to be able to look back and go, yeah, fuck up, man, I did it, man. I fucking did it. Whatever that is that you want to do. And don't let anyone tell you what you should be doing. I hate the shoulds, right? Even me. I talk about $1 million businesses. I'm currently in the process of building a $10 million business. Does it make me 10 times better as a person than a $1 million business? No. But it's the dragon that I'm trying to slay. It's the, I want to see if I'm, you know, have the characteristics, have the skill to be able to build a $10 million business and, you know, assemble a team, you know, leadership, push me in the direction. Anyway, my point is, it's not just about all of that. It's also about making sure that I live the life that, you know, you feel that matters. So for me, adventure is a big thing. On the poster behind me, like, adventure is a big thing. My relationships are a big thing, not just with my immediate family, you know, yes, with my wife, Michelle, yes, with my 3 daughters. Like, I want them to look out to me like a fucking superhero because my dad left us, okay? And this isn't a sob story, but my dad left us. And I really have views about parenting and who I want to be as a father to my kids. I'm not the school pickup dad. I'm not the park dad, but I am the dad that talks about values and principles and, like, understanding life and just getting some perspective. My point is, when the time comes, did you live a life that mattered? And that's just some context to what I'm saying. Anyway, when I had a chat with him last night, it was 4 hours. Went to a steak restaurant here at Cronulla. It's not often that I can sit there and not touch my phone for 4 hours, and I was locked the fuck in. And I want to kind of triangulate what I've been thinking about in terms of, you know, successful and wealthy and, like, the game of life right now. And I'm in this pensive mood. It's a fucking Thursday morning. I'm supposed to be on other meetings, but I want to talk to you guys instead. The first thing that comes to mind is we all have a bias. We all have a bias up here, and that is programmed into us. We've allowed it to program into us. We've even decided the program along the way, consciously or subconsciously. And that affects our decision making. It affects our risk appetite. It also affects the world that we see. What I believe to be true is the people who look at the world through an abundance lens, i.e. there is never a shortage of opportunity, they're the ones who inevitably become more creative, are more action driven, and seems to have good things happen to them, okay? Versus the ones that look through the lens of scarcity and it's too risky and it's too dangerous and the world is you know, against me. Those ones never seem to leave what I would probably call the trap of life, which is just getting stuck in this hamster wheel of, you know, the automatic life and paying off the mortgage and just cashing in to punch it in, punching out, you know, to come home and watch maths and you know, stay in a job that you hate to earn the money, to pay for the things you don't need, to impress the people you don't really love, okay? So that's the first thing, is our bias, cognitive bias. And this happens in our academy as well. The studio owners who seem to fly versus the ones who never seem to leave the ground, it doesn't come down to the market, the concept, how smart they are, how good looking they are, how many fucking, you know, abs you can see. It's got nothing to do with any of that. It really comes down to who they are as a person, and more to that, it's probably around the bias that they have because of their internal programming. That's why we have Ash in the program. Ash is our mindset coach. Like truthfully about Geronimo, like we've always had the tools and the playbooks. We've never had a shortage of fucking templates in Geronimo. One of the differences changed when we brought in Ash, when we worked on mindset. And then we worked on standards, and now we've worked on operationalizing that with our studios. So that's one thing, is the bias. The second thing that I really want to, as we're sitting here having a coffee, business owner to business owner, is your ability to realize that we've all got the same 24 hours in the day. Why is it that Warren Buffett is a gajillionaire and we're not? Well, he spends his time very differently to how we spend the time, right? Or people that are just starting out are spending their time. So maybe actually it's got nothing to do with anything else other than how we spend our time. And that reminds me of a quote that I know I say a lot, which I believe to be true, which is the number one reason why small businesses stay small is because they don't value their time. So when I think about this, for me at Geronimo, I'm just kind of like, this is me building the business in public. Like we're getting about, 75 leads a week at the moment. We're spending about 20 grand in ad spend right now. We're getting about, 75 leads a week and a bunch of bookings and things like that. So we want to grow, right? So our sort of like the base camp that we want to get to for the first quarter of the first half of this year is to see if we can double our rate of growth and to see what that does to our systems and kind of our ligaments and our tendons. And we know systems are going to break. We know we're going to need more people. Where are the processes that we're going to outgrow, et cetera, et cetera. So the sales target for January was 30. We got to 37. Awesome, right? We found new markets. We've welcomed some dance studios in here. We've got some more pole dancing studios. We seem to be hit with the Pilates crew at the moment. We love the Pilates crew, et cetera. And for what it's worth, we're selling like 7 independents to 1 franchise. Take that and run with it. So now we want to get to 40, right? First couple of weeks in Feb, we've sort of spluttered a little bit. And that's not because there wasn't lead flow. The lead flow has been cranking. We've actually increased our lead flow by 2x, which is what we wanted to do before we get to 3x, etc. But the constraint has been, what we've now found, is the constraint has been speed to lead, which is ironic because it's what I preach about. But at an organizational like enterprise level, speed to lead, there's departments involved and it's not just kind of, there's multifaceted areas to that. So right now we've realized that our normal like lead to triage, because we've got a 2-step sales process, our lead to triage is 40% when we are having good months. It's dropped down to 24, 25%. So side note, data, weekly scorecard, owners, all that kind of stuff. So it's down to 24%. When we looked at, is it the quality of the leads? No, quality is on fire. We see the names that are coming through and it's like such and such Pilates, such and such CrossFit, such and such whatever. It's not because of that. It's because of speed to lead. And what I love about our culture internally, and what I love about Chuck, who kind of runs this part at the moment, he's like just owned it and said, I can't get to these leads. There's so many of them. And B, I'm on these fucking meetings. So if I'm on these meetings, who's calling the leads? And thirdly, if Chuck has a slow week to get to leads because he's on too many fucking meetings, or Ben has him like making too many playbooks internally, then what happens is like the work that Chuck does, and Chuck's one of our setters, right? So the work that Chuck does, it doesn't have an impact today. It has an impact next week. So the reason why the sales team are a little bit slow the first 2 weeks of Feb was because Chuck wasn't able to get to these leads on time. Chuck's very good at what he does. It's not because of that. It's just we had him doing the wrong things. And as a CEO, that's my fault, right? Because my job is capital allocation. Having him work on the wrong fucking things and not being on the phones was a mistake. So now we're like, not only is Chuck now off all the different meetings, he is on the phones, hammering the phones. I spoke to him yesterday afternoon, waiting for Brett for dinner. And Chuck goes, sir, he calls me sir, which I love, by the way. For everyone watching, definitely call me sir. No, he goes, the quality of the leads have never been this good, right? So he goes, I've never had so many conversations pick up. In the past, it used to be, who the fuck are you? Now it's like, I love you guys. I've been watching YouTube. I've been listening to the podcast. My friend said this. I'll get to that. That's the third point. Okay. So my point of all this is like, once we identify what the theory of constraint is in the business, then my time, instead of fucking doing other shit that always sounds, entrepreneurial ADDs, like there's always something I could be doing. Even this conversation probably sounds like a bit AD. We're all over the shop, but just stay with me. So instead of like me building this new website, because I don't really love our website and I want to change it, and instead of me, working on other stuff that's annoying me, but not really the constraint, right now, we're on the hunt for 2 more salespeople to join Chuck in the trenches to increase our speed to lead and take it from the 25% back up to 40%. Maybe it could be 50%. We've just never seen it, right? But we never had 3 people on the front end. So what that makes me think is like theory of constraints. I believe what's going to happen then, we're going to hit 40s. And our next problem is going to be we're going to need more coaches in the coaching team to take care of all these people that are coming in. So the constraint just moves around the business. Matt Verlack, who used to run SaaS Academy for Dan, is someone that I've had the fortune of meeting this year. And he's helping us build our AI-based scorecards internally. And it's an absolute fucking legend, one of the smartest guys I've now met. I'm so grateful that I've met him. Shout out to Matty. He said, business is basically a game of, imagine you have a bull in a china shop that's just fucking kicking and screaming and moving around. Everything's breaking. That's a business. The game now becomes to try and corner the bull into one of the, spots of the shop where it's not making too much damage. The bull is the constraint. The room is the business, and the china that's falling off the walls and it's kind of crashing is basically your day, okay? So you're never going to get rid of the bull. The game is to try and corner the bull so it's not making too much damage, and that's the constraint. So it's moved from being a marketing constraint. We've solved that, which I'll get to in number 3. It's now a sales constraint, so we're going to solve that, and we're just going to move it. The bull will just move, it won't disappear. It'll just move to effectively the fulfillment team, right? The coaching team and client success to make sure that we're delivering at the right standard, we're onboarding the right way, and we're hitting all the different milestones along the way. One point there on number 2. Number 1 is like we've all got a bias. Number 2 is it's how we spend our time. Thinking about the wealthiest people that I know and the most successful people that I know, they are way more violent about how they spend their time. And ultimately, it is in the areas of constraint, and then they basically then apply volume to that, right? So instead of me hiring a one part-timer to do some stuff on the weekends, now I'm hiring 2 full-timers that are going to basically work a 7-day clock to apply volume and pressure to this constraint to make it disappear and then move further down the line, of which we need to then hire some coaches. The third part is leverage or code. How am I able to do that and make sure that the business behind the scenes isn't falling apart? Well, it's because I have developed, and so have these successful people, have developed leverage to be able to do that. Now, leverage looks like this. It looks like systems, looks like playbooks. It looks like maybe code in the business. Like Mark Zuckerberg is a coder, but there's a gazillion lines of codes that he's already written. Like now his team writes the code. And so, or it's almost like, Elton John, like he makes an album. That album can resell infinite amount of times until he dies, and even after he dies. It's kind of like that, right? So how can you develop an asset for the business that repeats itself? The biggest thing that I'm focusing right now on is personal brand, which is like content. So I'm never going to run out of a need for content creators to chop up all this shit and turn it into something else, particularly with AI available to us right now. The new content team of the future doesn't need to be out there following me and recording me do this. I can do this, post it online. They can grab the link to this, put it through a Descript, put it through a ChatGPT, put it through Otter, whatever, put it through Submagic, turn it into an infinite amount of like shorts, take this transcript, turn it into emails, turn it into like Twitter style posts, turn it into fucking a course, turn it like whatever. You and I are never going to run out of a need to have content creators for the purpose of developing leverage and a brand. In the world of AI, the world that we're moving into now, arguably we're in now, but it's only going to exponentially increase. There's not going to be a shortage of information. Some of it won't even be real. It'll be like an AI version of someone with lips moving and you're not sure if they're real or fake. It's going to be kind of a bit weird. But we're going to be starved of a point of view and someone who's actually done this before. Hormozy and Stephen Bartlett just did a podcast this week. I'll link it in the show notes. And they talked about the difference between a practitioner and a parrot. We're going to see an explosion of parrots out there. They've heard something and now they're going to say it. And their advice is probably an inch deep and a mile wide. It's like, but have you actually been there? Like you can read about how to do a deadlift. You can read about and do a podcast about how to do content. But actually, have you put out 100 shit videos and then done the analysis on the 10 best and then actually do 100 more of the 10 best and then do the 10% of those and then do that? Have you done that, or have you just heard that people do that? Same thing with this. So me putting myself out there doing 100 shit videos and this being one of them, I am doing 2 things. I'm learning the art of content and leverage, and code and like helping people along the way. This is documenting us building Geronimo in public and just me trying to do my things. Hopefully you find some of it interesting. But secondly, what it's also doing is it's building my personal brand. And that's the reason why, back to what Chuck said, 6 months ago, when we used to get a lead, Chuck would call them and go, hey, it's Chuck from Geronimo. And they go, who the fuck are you guys? Now he calls and they go, I'll be waiting for your call. Do you understand what that is doing to the bottom line, to our rate of growth, to also the quality of people that are coming through? So if you're listening to this and you've got a business, certainly if you've got a gym owner, studio owner, whatever it is, I would encourage you to, pick up a camera, do 100 shit videos and like lean into building a personal brand and content. I would actually submit to you that now in 2025, you're no longer just a Pilates studio or a yoga studio or a gym. You're actually a media company. You're a media brand that just happens to run 45-minute classes or whatever you do. And if you look through that lens, then how will that company look? How will that person spend their time? And what does that then create in terms of output for your business? We're living in a time now where there is an all-time low of people trusting brands. There is an all-time low, like millennials and Gen Zs don't trust ads anymore. They tune out to ads. They want to know who you are. They want to peek behind the curtain. They don't necessarily engage with the ads. They visit your Instagram or they visit your TikTok or they visit your channel like this, and they want to know who you are, what you stand for, because they want a bit of purpose behind, where they vote with their dollars. And so that's really important. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit of this is an unfiltered thought. We're just having a coffee. And it's just what's on my mind right now as I'm building Geronimo in public and learning all the things that I'm learning and bringing you kind of closer to the engine room of the decisions that I'm making and what I think it means right now in this economy. So the first thing is like, just watch out for the bias that you bring to decisions and your business and your teams. The second thing is theory of constraints is how you spend your time, right? Spend your time like violently attacking the thing that's holding you back the most. And there's always going to be something else, but just stay true and stay focused on just making sure you violently attack the one big dragon. And then the third thing is build your personal brand, because that is creating leverage and some code and IP in the background. It's almost like you become an artist and you can always sell your paintings. You can always sell your records. So think about that in your business, whether it's your playbooks, whether it's how you do things, whether it's so you're duplicating yourself. Okay. So if you do those three things well, then I think what it's going to spit out the back end is some extra cash. Okay. I think the extra cash is more about a result of the things that you're doing well. It's almost an index for how well you're doing. And then it's what you do with that cash to play the real game, which is about wealth building. And I'm not here to tell you what to do, but what I would love to encourage you to think about is, I'm going to be a bit stronger. If I can do this, is don't get stuck in just like the minutiae of your business so much, or your job, so much that you forget to do something with the money that you make out of there to go and make more money and actually make the real money over here. This is almost like, your income is your P&L, your profit and loss, but your balance sheet is what you do with that money in terms of your investments, okay? So no one's really made it big by just having a full-time job or a full-time salary. It's the assets that they purchase off the back of it that increase in value over time and then generate wealth, okay? So whether it's stocks, whether it's investment properties, whether it's crypto, whatever you want to do, then do that. Anyway, this is just a bit of an unfiltered video. Business owner to business owner, someone who's in the arena. I haven't sold out. I'm not sitting back, after a comfortable exit. I'm in the arena, in the same era as you right now, and we're just having a chat. I would love to know in the comments, is this the kind of video that you'd like to see from me? I'll keep doing it until you tell me otherwise. All right, bye.